Внимание! Говорит и показывает Москва.
The common wisdom is that the Soviet space program has failed because it didn't put a man on the moon. Or has it? The first human artifact into space was Sputnik in 1957. The Soviets sent the first living being into space, the first man and the first woman. And Alexei Leonov completed the first spacewalk in history in 1965. These successes are generally credited to the Soviets, but most people believe that after them, their program began lagging behind the American effort to reach the moon. But the Soviets were actually first at the moon, with Luna 1. Luna 2 was the first to impact its surface, Luna 3 shot the first pictures of the far side, and Luna 9 performed the first soft landing. Then the Americans landed Apollo 11, and the Soviets scrapped their own manned landing program, but didn't stop there. They deployed robotic rovers to the moon, the Lunokhod, nearly 30 years earlier than NASA and ESA began sending theirs to Mars. Luna 16 even managed to send rock samples back to Earth. Their achievements do not stop to Earth orbit. The Venera program was the first to complete an interplanetary transfer, 6 years earlier than NASA. Its probes are still the only ones which have managed to touch down on Venus, and to date, the only pictures we have of its surface were shot by the Venera landers. Venera also managed to launch balloons in the atmosphere of the planet, which means that the Soviets are today the only ones to have flown a human aircraft in an alien atmosphere. And how about space stations? So far, of the 10 space stations that have ever orbited our planet, 7 were Soviet. That includes in particular Mir. Mir pioneered the modular architecture that made the International Space Station possible, and as a consequence, the first models of the ISS itself were Russian-built upgrades of the original Mir design. All this without a space shuttle. Speaking of which, the Space Shuttle was expected to be the first of a new generation of reusable spacecrafts that would have driven down the costs of sending people and material into space, and was scrapped in 2011 because it didn't live up to that promise. This makes the Proton rocket and the Soyuz and Progress spacecrafts developed in the 60s the most long-lived spacecrafts in the history of the space age. These are quite a few successes for a failed program. Come to think of it, putting a man on the moon is pretty much the only thing that the Soviet space program did not do.